This is Nick, the author of the book Ace the Data Science Interview. Nick is a data scientist, a software engineer, and not an author by profession. Drawing on his experience as a software engineer at a major tech companies like Facebook and Google, Nick crafted a valuable resource for aspiring data scientists. He released his book in April 2020 and became an instant hit and a bestseller on Amazon. Nick knew his life would change, but not for what he hoped for. Shortly after his best-selling success, he noticed his book popping on pirating sites. His book was being downloaded and shared for free without his consent. His dreams of financial freedom are now a living nightmare. All the years of hard work and sleepless nights to perfecting his book was wasted. He estimated that 20% of his yearly income is lost due to piracy. Now Nick is what you call an independent author. He writes, has a side hustle, and earns a living elsewhere. Independent authors are solo creators. They fund, create, publish, and distribute their own works. Traditional authors like J.K. Rowling, on the other hand, are like rockstars signed on a record label. The record labels being publishing houses like Penguin and HarperCollins. Traditional authors are full-time creators under contract and don't do much of anything apart from writing. Online piracy is handled differently between independent authors and traditional authors. For traditional authors, piracy is a problem shared with a multi-million-dollar publisher. Publishers invest a lot of money, time, and lawyers to protect the authors. But for independent authors, all the work in fighting pirates rests upon them. For independent authors, every illegal download is not just a sale, it's a piece of their normal salary, their rent, and their ability to create their next work, stripped away. First of all, what is online piracy? Online piracy is defined as the unauthorized use, copying, or sharing of copyrighted digital content, such as music, films, games, software, and books. The process of piracy starts with the creator, who produces original content like games, music, or films. This content is then managed by a publisher who facilitates its distribution to consumers. Pirates then acquire this content unlawfully, bypassing the legal channels set up by creators and publishers. They then upload the stolen material to legal platforms such as Pirate Bay, making it accessible to public without creators' consent. Consumers or end users seek out this content using illegal platforms to avoid paying for it. Piracy is as old as the internet itself, but had a slight decline in the mid-2010s. This was due to the rise of subscription-based companies like Netflix and Spotify. They offered easier and safer ways to access content of desire. We should note that pirating something is very risky. Pirating websites are filled with viruses and malware that can destroy a device or steal your information. From 2020 to date, piracy is on the rise again. This is because content is now fragmented. In the 2010s, you could access almost everything on Netflix or Spotify. Today, your favorite movie or show is scattered across subscription services from Amazon Prime, Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, and so on. On the book side, you now have Amazon, Apple Book, and Google Play. This subscription fatigue, coupled with the rising cost of these services, pushes consumers back toward piracy as a simpler, cheaper way to access their desired content. Now back to Nick. Now that we know that he faces the battle with pirates alone, unlike traditional authors who have multi-million-dollar companies fighting for them, how does Nick actually fight piracy? All creators fight pirates in accordance to the law known as the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, or the DMCA. It's a law that allows the owner of the copyrighted item to notice and take down pirating websites that steal their copyrighted item. The law also provides safe harbor to online service providers. This means that they avoid liability for copyright infringement. Online service providers include platforms like Amazon, Netflix, all the way to pirating websites. So for Nick to fight piracy in accordance to the DMCA, he has to do the following. First, monitor and find illegal platforms or any online service provider that distributes his book illegally. Second, gather evidence like links and screenshots of his book in that platform. Third, send a takedown notice to the platform. Follow up on the notice and gracefully wait for the platform to remove his book. If no reply or no takedown, he has to hire lawyers or seek legal consultation. Remember, Nick has to do this on his own. He is extremely lucky if the platform removes his book, which is next to impossible. Unlike traditional authors. Some people argue that piracy can be good for creators, especially for authors. Paulo Coelho, a Brazilian novelist, once noted that free access can help build readership. However, most studies show that the revenue lost due to piracy outweighs any potential gain, and the free access can lower the perceived value of creative work. When consumers get used to accessing content for free, they may be less willing to pay for it in the future. How can we solve the problem of piracy for independent authors? We could try amending the DMCA. Currently, the online service providers are given too much leniency. To effectively combat piracy and protect independent authors, it is essential to amend the DMCA to hold online service providers more accountable for infringing content on their platforms. Current provisions limit online service providers' liability, placing the burden of enforcement primarily on authors. By clarifying online service providers' responsibility and requiring proactive monitoring of content, we can create a more equitable distribution of responsibility. Amendments should reintroduce a notice and stay down policy, with this time forcing online service providers to remove all copies of pirated works upon receiving notification. This shift will significantly reduce piracy and streamline the enforcement process for independent authors, who often struggle with the current notice and takedown system. Additionally, imposing increased liabilities, such as fines, on online service providers for non-compliance will incentivize them to adopt more effective anti-piracy measures. By establishing a framework that strengthens the role of online service providers in copyright protection, we can better support the independent authors in the fight against piracy and ensure a fairer digital marketplace. In conclusion, while piracy may seem like an easy solution for access, it is devastating for creators like Nick and many others. Combating online piracy is vital for the survival and growth of independent authors and small creators. Supporting these artists is not just an act of charity, it is crucial for maintaining a vibrant cultural space. Piracy undermines the financial stability, discourages new works, and diminishes content quality. While some people argue for exposure, the negative impacts far outweigh any perceived benefits. The financial struggles faced by creators highlight the urgent need for stronger legal measures. By fostering a culture that values creative work and ensures fair play, we can help sustain the artistic effort that enrich our society and inspire future generations. Thank you.